Good morning, this is Dr. Bill Wyatt with the American Orthodontic Society, and I'm going to try to cover some stuff that we did years ago. In fact, I was surprised how long ago it was, but it was somewhere around 47 or 49 years ago. And I have lectured on this subject for years, all around over the United States and Canada and Mexico and over in Europe and other places, not very much, and we have published stuff on this, and still people are not using it. I don't know why, but I'm going to try again to show you what it is. When we started separating the palates, and this is something that needs to be done on everybody that's palate is narrowed down and narrowed their airway, and they spend the rest of their life having to use all sorts of things. I'm one of them in a sense, trying to get air through our nose and breathe through the nose rather than the mouth, and it makes a big difference in life. So here's how we came about this, and I'm going to have to go through this video real fast, but you can pick it up if you want to go back and look at stuff on it earlier. You can do that also. My little button here isn't working. I don't know what to... All right, here we go. This young man was going to college when he came in, and he had a narrow palate, and he had crooked teeth, and Lord knows they were really crooked. And he's a nice guy, and he was about halfway through college, and his teeth were just bothering him a lot. And so I talked to him and showed him what we could do in fixing his mouth up. And this was the 5th month of 1973 that we did this. And we had to band the teeth and everything, and it was extremely crowded, so I took teeth out to start with. And I was working and trying to get his palate apart and using a palatal separator back there around the molar area. But the thing is, I was using the pressure back in the back part of the mouth, and your main part of your bone, if I could go back and show you the skull, right there is where the anterior spine comes down, and you got a lot of bone structure right in here, and you tried to separate it from pushing apart back in the molar area. And here's where a lot of the bone is, and it needs to be pushed on there too. And I was cranking this thing, and I had given up on a young man right before him. I couldn't get it apart, and so I took it off. And this young man, I'm sure, I don't know where he is, but he's probably suffered his whole life with a narrow palate and a narrow airway. And I was, this young man was in college, and he came by one Saturday with his girlfriend and everything, and he was griping at me, said this pressure was just getting to him and everything. And I was kind of irritated, and I was very busy. So I just went in and I made a spring. I went in and looked at, and so we just did this like this. We made this spring and came out like this, went up. Now you take this spring and pull it down, and the legs were going out like this. But it's got a lot of pressure off of these legs as they push against the teeth. And I put that between this guy's teeth and tied them up, and it was Saturday about 10 o'clock, and his girlfriend was with him, and they took off, and he went into Fort Worth to window shop or something. And luckily I was in the office when he came back that afternoon about 2 or 3, something. He came back in the office and he said, well, his girlfriend told me, said, man, his teeth are apart. And I looked at it, he said, he didn't even know when they went apart. So we were looking I was looking at him, I said, your teeth are apart. And he went and looked in the show window, and he said, I could stick a wooden match between my teeth. And they had gone apart because I put pressure out in the front part of the mouth out here, along with the back pressure. The back pressure moves out like this, and then you separate this. And we've done that now on many, many people. We put in adults and stuff. And I went to, Donald Timms came to New York one time and lectured. He wrote the book on palatal separation. And I asked Donald Timms, how old can you separate the palate? And there were a lot of people around there to ask him questions, and he said about 17 or 18. And I couldn't sit there and talk with him for a long time. I just left. And I never did tell him. I'd been separating people when they were 30 and in their 30s, and a few of them in their 40s. So I'm going to run through this real quick and show you that, if I can hurry up on this. Here that spring is, that same spring. This leg would go out like that, you see. And so we pull this thing down and put it with it. This is not the way to separate this. If you had left and I didn't see him for 6 weeks or 6 months or something, these teeth would have been out like that. You know, that's not it. But it added the force that I needed on these teeth. And he went downtown window shopping and looked at it, and there was a gap in his teeth about that wide. And his girlfriend saw it and said, your teeth are separated. And so anyway, we opened it up like that. Luckily he came in and we got that off and put something in here, and then I put a spring or something to help hold it till we got the roots out here good. Then you take that off and let the teeth come together, but keep the palate separated. So we're going to run through this in a hurry. I had extracted teeth down in here, and we were pushing this apart with this palatal separator, and this thing didn't only just push them apart this way, it straightened them out at the same time. So there was a pretty good spring, but if you didn't come back, your teeth would be in a mess. So anyway, we separated this and got this out. We made room enough, and we're bringing those teeth through. And I'm going to have to hurry through this and show you. So there it is there. Now we went through this. Now the teeth are straight out there and apart. Now we put spring over here, and that's a good way to do it. And we'll get the laterals coming through. I'm going to have to just run through this in a hurry. This is in here, if you could find it among all these videos. Now this was 1973, and 73 to 2000 is 27 years. It's 73 to 83 to 93, and 27 years there, plus another 21 or 22, and this is nearly, well, we think it's 49 years. And I have lectured on this and shown it to thousands of people on all that period of time, and had people come in, and we did, and it's still, people still don't use this anterior pressure in here, and this is ridiculous. We could be spreading the palates out. There's a lot of adults in their 20s and 30s that need to have the airway there, and even into the 40s. And if you can't, we were showing you that one man that weighs 300-something pounds, and we put a palatal separator and just kept cranking it, and we stretched the palate. We couldn't separate it, but we've stretched it out. And his upper teeth were fitting inside of his lower teeth, and we spread the upper wider than the lower teeth, and it fit down over it. And you can see that, you won't believe it or not, and you can separate. I have separated, or not separated the suture, but I've expanded the palates on people into their 70s. And they would go on in, one was 79 and went on into the 80s. So let's get on through this right quick. All right, here it is. We put the anterior part on a slipping deal, and we had bands back and then. That's all we had to bond these teeth with. And we carried this band right on through and separated this, and I'm going to run through. If you want to slow it down and see exactly what we did. And it doesn't matter if you're 30 or 40 or 50, you can move the teeth, and you can move this group of teeth out and expand. And people say you can't put teeth out where there's no bone. You certainly can. You just take a group of them and go out, and you can put them out where there is no bone. They carry their bone with them when they go out there. Now here's the lower arch as we finished up here. And I'm going to run on through as quick as I can. And we close this little wire we put back in here, and that pulls the back teeth in a little bit here, where you twist that down with and you come through your teeth like this. And look how even this is going here. And it doesn't matter what shape the thing is in when you get in there and start doing this. Now here we took elastics. We were jumping these out like this. And this is closing the bite down. And this is getting our midline. It's pulling this over in this direction and this direction right here. And so there the midline is lined up now. The teeth are going in there, and I'll pull those together. And back when we had all these blooming bands on, you had 2 pieces of metal and 2 layers of cement between every tooth. And you had to take all of this off and put elastic from cusp to cusp on the molars and pull all that space together, and you just hope to God it looked good when you got through. With brackets, I can tell somebody, this is what you're going to get. We take the brackets off and we keep it right where it was when you looked at it. Here it is now. We carried this on out, and we're closing this space with elastics, but we were holding it together. And this was we don't do the retainers like that anymore. This wire will come up and come down, and we bond the bond back in this area. So much better, and they don't break it as easy. And here it is. We're closing the gap up, the space, and we'll close the molar space with a retainer. And here is 1976, and Larry Taylor, and there's 1976. There's 80 somewhat, 88, and that's the end of it. But here is in 1988, and this was done 49 years ago when we started it. And we have lectured on this thing for years. And people still, I haven't seen anybody run around with pressure up here, but maybe some of you do. I hope some of the people that I've had over the years drop me a line or something and show me you're using this, and you can use it, and you can do this, and you can separate many of these older 20s, 30s, and even in their 40s, and you can go on into their older years by stretching it. You can increase the airway, and people can breathe better. And when you do put buccal root torque in the molar and bicuspid area, increase that airway. thank you for watching, and I'll hang up here and say goodbye for the time being, but hope you'll drop in and see us again. Thank you now.